Hi everybody, this is Alchemist2, and I'm back again with another movie review. I just recently saw The Lone Ranger, starring Johnny Depp and Armie Hammer. This was actually produced by Johnny Depp himself. He was an executive producer, which I didn't know until the credits, but if you're expecting old school Lone Ranger, then prepare to be surprised. It actually has some allusions to the original Lone Ranger, including the theme that we're also familiar with if you've watched the original show. And I had just seen bits and pieces, and hadn't really watched the series when I was a little girl, but I always liked westerns, and I still like westerns even today. And there are those that I really, really enjoy, like the old John Wayne. Uh, Westerns are some of my favorites, and my ultimate favorite is The Cowboys, which was the final film that he made before he passed away, and it's a classic. If you haven't seen it, watch it because it's the Duke at his best. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. This is a really exponentially excellent film. It is grand on many scales, including just how magnificent the cinematography is in Utah. It just takes your breath away, and this is one reason why I really want to travel to Utah, to the Badlands and the sea, the buttes, and all that. And it's just really incredible, this land that we have. And it was mainly filmed in Utah and New Mexico, and both are really um, gorgeous, resplendent pieces of land in our United States. And a lot of westerns are actually filmed in these places for that reason, because of the expanse and just how wild and untamed and savage these lands truly are. They are untempered by time, and just there's a lot of freedom that is expressed, and symbolically speaking. And speaking of symbolism, there's quite a bit of symbolism within this film concerning the railroad and good versus evil and greed um, versus justice, and what the true law is versus tolerance and genocide, and ethics, morals, values. And it's really quite interesting, and it talks about progress, and progress versus this old fashioned notion of what true lawmaking really is, with John's character, John Reed, and his brother's, deputy, actually a sheriff, Dan Reed. And Dan Reed is this larger than life character who's helped the Comanches and done so much good for them, and they consider him a friend. And he seems to have a lot of spirituality about him. He's a man's man, very rugged, and I like his character. And I'm not gonna say what happens to him, because what happens to him, it just, I thought, nah, I was so angry, but you get over it eventually. Um, Johnny Depp as Tonto, I just absolutely adore him, and he was just exquisite. He was at the top of his game. I think that he could play Native American Comanche quite well. And his story is very tragic. It's very different from what we're used to in the original series, I think, and just that whole origin of what he goes through. And it's just, you feel so sorry for him. You think, oh, you poor, poor sweet angel. You were just a child. And it just reminds me of how cruel some people are, all in the name of progress and all in the name of advancing a society. Who cares about the little guys? It's survival of the fittest. It's that whole idea, social Darwinism. But anyway, I'm not going to go into that. John Locke's philosophy is quoted in here, and I really liked that. If you know anything about John Locke, I thought, ooh, we're getting a history lesson here. A little bit of sociology, anthropology, um, philosophy. That was nice. That was a really good edge. Um, a lot of the scenes that take place that are chase scenes are just absolutely remarkable. They are awesome. They just literally make you sit on the edge of your seat, pay attention. You're not going to be bored. Of course, there are some kind of slow moments within the film itself that kind of drag a little bit, but not really. It keeps your attention, and it's a very entertaining movie. As far as movies go and westerns, I think this is going to be one of my favorite westerns of all time, just because it has the feel of an old-fashioned western, and you've got, you know, your typical tropes that you're used to, you know, good versus evil. Um, the good guy wears a white hat, the bad guy wears a black hat. It's all very symbolic. It's like spy versus spy, if you're used to that kind of thing, only in the West. But it's really quite a uh, amazing film, and I was completely spellbound by the whole thing. It's really exceptional. It truly, truly is. And Gore, whatever his name is, the guy who was the creator, he was just tremendous. Hans Zimmer did the composing work for this movie, and I love Hans Zimmer. He is one of my favorite composers of all time. I just think he is a genius, musically speaking, and no matter what he touches, it just turns into gold. And it's his signature style is heard throughout this whole movie, and you think, you know it's going to be epic, just because the music matches the mood and it fit everything. Helena Bonham Carter, she plays a more of a minor role, but her character is so likable, and I just love her to death. And you feel sorry for her too, because well, I won't say what was so interesting about her, but I thought that she was badass, and I just love that about her. She kind of reminds me of Kenya from Defiance in a way. Hmm. Yeah, I never thought of that parallel. I thought, yeah, she kind of reminds me of her. You know, that the woman sticks up for herself, and even though she has an ailment, I won't say what that is. That's just a minor spoiler. But she's strong and she's tough, and she is able to take care of herself, and she does not take guff for any sort of hullabaloo from anybody. She is just the type of woman who commands attention when she enters a room. And she's just an incredible character, even though she's more of a cameo role. She's just really extraordinary, I thought, and I loved her. I thought, can you be my mother, please? But I liked her that much. She was that kind of a character. That she had a matronly kind of way about her, but she wasn't really the matronly type. She was more of the the taskmaster, the ringleader. I would say she was a ringleader type, the leader of the little brothel she had, and the House of Sin, as she called it. And she was just a really great, colorful character to have in there. And all the characters are colorful, but I think she really stood out, and she speaks with a southern accent, and I just love. I don't know what it is, but since I've been in the South, I've been to South Carolina. It's like my home away from home. I love southern accents. I absolutely adore southern accents. I don't know what it is, but they're just so charming, and they're very mellifluous, and you could listen to that kind of symphony all day if you wanted to. Um, it's like Sam Waldron, and his when I hear him, I just adore it. I don't know what it is. I guess it's the nostalgia and the history of our country. It sounds like it's coming to life, and it's just gives you such a thrill to see that, and especially with within this movie, I think Jerry Bruckheimer did his research like he usually does for a film of this caliber. 5-star film, 5-star film. This movie is really a grand film for everyone to see. Families will just love it. It's got everything you could possibly want. It's got train robberies. It's got really a marvelous plot, so to speak. I won't say what it is because I'll give it away. But it's you've got your typical Western mechanism going here of you've got your outlaw who is on the lam and recently deputized John Reed. Um, he decides to enact his own brand of justice because he's a lawyer. That's why he's studying John Locke. It all makes sense, John Locke's treatise on democracy. I really don't know what else to say other than I absolutely adore this movie and I would see it again because it was just there is so much good humor in this and the lines are really great and a lot of the quotes are very memorable and Johnny Depp is, Tonto. He's my ultimate favorite character because he's got so much wisdom behind him. He's a sage character, like a shaman type, and I love shaman characters just because of this. And the movie was actually spiritual, and I just felt very touched by it, and I'm glad I saw it because I've been going through some troubles as of late, just been going through some trials and tribulations. I think that my outlook is starting to all come up rainbows, thankfully. It just had been a little bit rocky, but fortunately, I think all will be sunshine. And there's always a silver lining around every cloud, so this is what that taught me. And sometimes you have to do things that you don't necessarily want to do, which is what this movie is all about, is, being being courageous and being fearless and standing up against evil in the world and doing something about it. More evil happens when people just stand and wait and do nothing. I forget what the actual quote is. What is it? It's more evil occurs in this world brought about by good men who stand about and do nothing or something. I don't know what the exact phraseology of that saying is. It's an anonymous, famous saying. But there's a lot of truth in that. But this is a wonderful film to see, especially today with the birth of our nation. Well, actually, isn't 2nd of July was when our independence was truly celebrated because that was the ratification of our Constitution. Oh, actually, you could say either yesterday or Tuesday. Either day will work because they're both very important in the history of our country. But we don't really celebrate the 2nd and 3rd. It's the 4th. So maybe we got it wrong. Who cares? We're Americans. Doesn't matter. It's just give us something to blow up and we're happy. But anywho, despite all that, despite our ignorance, I have to say, as a nation, I love our nation, and I'm happy to be American, and I'm glad that I can do reviews such as this in a free nation. So, yay, USA! Happy birthday! Woohoo!